Adventurers like you is what's wrong with this world. People have become too reliant on magic. It also allows the weak to gain power over others, and that right there is what tips the scale of order towards chaos. That's why we're here, to teach people that magic shouldn't be relied on, and only your own strength matters. So I hope you're all ready to learn and help us balance these scales. Hello and welcome back to Penguin Project. This is my second encounter building video, and I think I figured out a better way to do these videos, so hopefully this will start a long running series. So just a little heads up before we jump into it. When I ran this encounter, it was quite hard on my players, so be sure you know your players well and that they would enjoy a challenging combat. Anyway, with that out of the way, let's jump into it. So to begin, let's start with setup. You want to hint to your players that this militia exists. You could do this in a number of ways. Perhaps local arcane libraries have been attacked by a group of people wearing strange uniforms. Maybe an alarming amount of wizards and sorcerers are going missing. Or even a quest giver could warn the party not to travel a certain route due to local militia that doesn't take kindly to users of the arcane. Whatever you decide to go with, make their existence known, so that the party might know what to expect if they run into them. So that's the setup. So now I want to jump into an example of running the encounter. So before we get started, I just want to mention how I run initiative in my home game. We do a group initiative. I personally think it works better for narratively running combats, as it means the party can more easily hit cool combos and maneuvers, and it also means the enemies can do the same, helping them feel more like a threat that works together. We want the order to feel like they have fought many spellcasters, so they should be able to identify spells and the types of casters the party is, and actively work to shut their plans down. Now, as the DM, it's always good to give warning to the enemy's intentions before they act, so the party can prepare and react accordingly. So now to jump into their tactics as a group, for the purposes of this, I'll make the party a cleric, bard, warlock, and barbarian, all at level 6. And the enemy side will be a captain, 2 foot soldiers, and 1 with a black pudding gun. The captain has the ability to use anti-magic spores that surround their armor, creating a 10-foot anti-magic sphere around them. The captain will try to stay as close to the party as possible, shutting down their magic effects and hitting them with their greatsword. The barbarian, in this case, should be ignored as a target unless they attack first. We want the order to hunt arcane users first and foremost, so the foot soldiers should try their best to run straight for the bard and the warlock and the cleric. The person using the black pudding gun should focus on whichever spellcaster is doing the most to help the party. So maybe they could do an insight check versus the party's deception. If beaten, they should focus healers such as cleric, allowing them to become silenced, blinded, and suffocating. The main goal of the encounter is to split the party's focus. Rather than just having to deal damage, they have to solve problems while fighting, creating a more memorable encounter, in my opinion. I recommend when planning encounters, try to add another problem or event in the combat to create more dramatic moments. So now, let's run an example. The order should initiate the fight, the captain giving the orders to attack and then triggering his spores. Then we should roll initiative. But for this example, I'm just going to roll a d20 for each of them. Okay, the player's got a 12 and the order gets a 19. So the order will go first. The captain should run into the middle of the group and target the closest spellcaster, in this case the warlock. The captain rolls the hit and gets a 19, okay. So that's a 24, so that hits and deals 11 damage to the warlock, and his second attack he gets an 11, so that misses. 1 foot soldier follows his lead and targets the warlock as well and gets a 16, so that hits and deals 8 damage. The other foot soldier will target the bard and gets a 14, so misses. Next, I'll ask the spellcasters of the party to roll deception. So the cleric gets a 15, the bard gets a 16, and the warlock a 23. So now I'm going to do an insight check on the black pudding gun user. They only get an 8, so they don't succeed. So the pudding gun user can't read what type of casters the players are, so will stay in the back lines and hold their action until someone casts a spell. So the player's turn. The warlock, being on half health, will attempt to misty step away from the 2 attackers. However, this is stopped by the anti-magic field, so the players now realize what the spores are. That not working, they will instead attack the captain with their short sword, not sure what else to do. They sadly only got an 8, so they miss. The barbarian, seeing the warlock in trouble, will go into a frenzy rage and will run over and attack the captain, making all attacks reckless, hoping to get the captain's attention. The first attack, with advantage, is an 18. It just hits. Second attack, advantage again. So in total, they deal 18 damage to the captain. The bard will cast Hold Person on the person attacking them, a saving throw. They fail, so are now held in place. But this triggers the pudding gun user's reaction, and she fires at the bard and gets a nat 20, dealing only 2 acid damage, doubled to 4. But the bard is now silenced, blinded, and suffocating, but still concentrating on Hold Person. The cleric will fire a guiding bolt at the person with the gun and gets a 17 and does 16 points of radiant damage. The gunner, having used their reaction already, can't use their magic deflect, but this would have been a great opportunity to show that off to the players. They then will walk towards the bard with the intention to heal them next turn, and the captain and foot soldier will use their provoked movement to move towards the cleric and the bard, but not out of melee range of the barbarian, as to trigger an attack of opportunity. So round 2, the gunner will reload and fire a shot at the cleric, only getting a 15, which is not enough. The captain will use his first attack to attempt to knock the barbarian prone. With a contested strength roll, he gets only a 10, okay, and the barbarian gets a 4, so actually fails. My dice rolls are so bad. Anyway, the barbarian falls prone. The captain will then confidently say, "Now, you stay on him and take out that spell slinger first. I'll go after these 2." And points his sword at the cleric and the bard. Now as he leaves, the barbarian will get an attack of opportunity, so we'll take it, with disadvantage because they're prone. So, rolling 2d20s, they get a 16 and a 6, so we take the 6 and they miss. The captain then will walk over to the cleric and use his second attack, only getting an 8. My god, I'm changing dice. So he misses, but has brought the aura over to them, and the bard is still suffocating, but the hold person drops. The foot soldier at the bard will attack the bard with advantage because they are blinded. He gets exactly 15, which hits. They deal 10 damage to the bard. Then the other foot soldier will hit the warlock, ignoring the barbarian on the floor, because they want rid of these casters. They got an 18, that does hit, and then they deal 16 damage, leaving the warlock on only 5 HP. Then it's back to the players. Hopefully that helped with ideas on how to run this encounter and the oppressive force they are. I think what makes it a fun encounter is all the issues they can cause for spellcasters, and forces them to think more about battlefield placement and creative solutions to deal with the threat. Also, the fact they want to deal with martial classes after spellcasters, I think creates an interesting encounter dynamic that many tanky classes aren't used to. Basically, the martial class should only be targeted if there are no other options for the order. I think this helps really sell their hatred for arcane users, especially if the captain calls out to focus the casters first. Again, just making it clear to players. So, thank you very much for watching, and I hope you like this encounter and want to use it in your game. Just make sure it's something your players would enjoy, as I'm sure having half your abilities be cancelled or shut down could be an exciting problem to solve for some, but could also ruin the fun for others. So just double check you know that it would be enjoyed at your table. And please, if you do use this, let me know in the comments down below, or DM me on Instagram. I'd love to hear your tabletop stories. Anyway, that's the video. Bye!